Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. All right, we good, we good, we good. Hey, shalom to all y'all brothers, man. I give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai. Ah, man. Man. This is what I look like, you know. I look like a Northern Kingdom Vato, man. Hey, man, y'all seen the title, y'all seen the thumbnail. How to do the Nazarite vow, 1 year personal testimony. So just let y'all brothers know, man, if y'all been following me since I've been in the truth, y'all know my hair, I've been growing my hair out. I was doing the Nazarite vow for about, I want to say the last 12 months. I started the Nazarite vow. I want to say the last time I cut my hair was December. I want to say like the 20th, like sometime late last year, or not last year, but in 2020, right? I had got my hair cut when I moved out to Houston and whatnot. And long story short, you know, I decided, you know what, I'm in this truth. I had read about the Nazarite vow. I was fervent. I'm like, man, I'm going to do the Nazarite vow. So basically, when I first made the vow, I said that I was going to do the vow until we was in the wilderness, until it was Jacob's trouble. We was in the wilderness. I'm like, oh, I ain't even going to be able to cut my hair no more. We're going to be out there. We ain't going to have no barbershop. I'm going to be able to get that, you know, that fade and whatnot. So I'm like, you know, I'm going to just do it to them. And then I quickly realized, like, damn, you have a lot of zeal, bro. You never know when Jacob Trouble could be 5 years away. You're going to have your hair going crazy. Your beard going to be going down to the ground. You're going to be looking like them damn weed head Rastafarian dudes who look crazy as hell. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to do it for a full year. So basically, man, I did the vow for a full year. And come, you know, January this month, it had been a full year. So, you know, I just want to give y'all my personal testimony because it did transform me. It wasn't per se the vow, but it's everything that was signified with it. You know, and we're going to actually get into it. So for any of y'all brothers who want to do this vow, like this is something that a lot of our ancient forefathers did. Samson did it from birth. John the Baptist did it from birth. Elijah did it from birth. You know, Paul, he had time where he took a vow. And there was many other men and many other people in ancient Israel who did the vow. So this is actually an ancient Hebrew custom. So I wanted to just, you know, kind of break it down, give y'all my experience, my high points, my low points and things like that. That way y'all brothers can, if you decide you want to do it too, you can do it too. But, you know, man, it just feel weird, man. My head feel cold. All right, so first things first, I'm gonna pull up the Blue Letter Bible. All right. So we're gonna go to if you brothers want to read about the Nazarite vow, you brothers will go to Numbers chapter 6. All right, this is when you, and this is actually in the Torah, so this is actually a part of the law. This is Numbers chapter 6. It says, and the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, when either man or woman shall separate themselves to vow a vow of a Nazarite, to separate themselves unto the Lord. So just so y'all brothers understand, the word Nazarite means to separate. We can actually look that up in the, and I think this is the Greek or the Hebrew. Let me see if I can find it real quick. All right, so we can get it right here. So let's look up the definition of it real quick. So dictionary, Nazarite. Let me see. Here you go, right here. One chosen or set apart. So basically, when you look at the base meaning of Nazarite, it means to set yourself apart. Because there's many ways that the Most High allowed our people, especially allowed our people to be separated. You know, you had the fact that we're separate, we're the Most High's, you know, firstborn. You know, obviously we're chosen among the other nations of the earth. And then you also had the tribe of Levi, right? Where certain men, you know, Levi was separated. It was the Lord's inheritance. And also there was particular vows that you would make unto the Lord to set yourself apart. So you brothers got to understand something about the Nazarite vow. If you first come into it, nigga, if you do the Nazarite vow, you're not a holy chosen prophet of the Lord. You know, when I was newer to the truth, I used to think that, oh, I did the Nazarite vow, I'm going to be able to read the scriptures better. I'm going to be able to do certain things. And, you know, I read about Samson, I read about Elijah. Now, that's not how it works. At the end of the day, we just rehearsing the righteous acts but the Most High does take into account the works that you're doing to show your dedication to Him. Because when you take this vow, it's not only you just following the law, statutes, and commandments and doing something in honor of the Lord, but you're going to the next level, right? So I just want to break it down. So let's go back to the book of Numbers chapter 6. This book of Numbers chapter 6, and I'm gonna go down to verse 2 again. It says, "Speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, either man or woman shall separate themselves to vow a vow of a Nazarite to separate themselves unto the Lord." And if you're a woman and you decide to do the Nazarite vow, hey, baby girl, you are a special woman, because I've never met a woman who's done the Nazarite vow. And to be quite honest with you, with the nature of women, when you try to be a Nazarite in this society that we're in, more often than not, it's going to push them away, because a lot of women, they don't like to be judged. They don't like to be seen different. They like to be a part of everybody else. So more often than not, I only see men do it. Now, if you're a woman and you do it, I got to give you a big shalom, because that's very, very rare that a woman would do this. Now, verse 3, it says, "He shall separate himself from wine and strong drink." So that's one of the key components that not only just brothers who are in this truth, but just people who read the Bible all over, you can't drink any wine. No red wine, no white wine. And the one thing that I didn't understand when I first started it is no strong drink, meaning no type of alcohol whatsoever. No beers, no vodka, you know what I'm saying? No, what else did I used to drink? No Ciroc, you know what I mean? No, what else? Gin, Henny. Hey man, look, no drinking. So if any of you brothers have ever had an issue with alcohol, this is actually a real good thing for you. If any of you brothers have ever had a self-control problem, if you take this vow, it's going to keep you clean, because the other drugs that we've done in this society, like weed, white girl, Molly Carum, all these other crazy things, they're against the law. You're not supposed to do them. It's not stipulated, but just the fact of you being an upright citizen of Yahweh, a man or woman of the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh, you're naturally not going to want to do it. But the one thing that a lot of times people have, like an alcohol addiction or a drug addiction, is that if they can't do it in one aspect, then they'll do it in something else. So the one leeway that we have is to drink, right? So if you take the vow, the Nazarite vow, then you can't even drink. And a lot of times that forces you to have some sort of self-control, because you can't smoke weed, you can't pop nothing, you can't do nothing. And now you can't even drink unless it's, of course, the Passover, and you got to drink wine to signify Yahweh HaMashiach's blood. But continuing on, so not only can you not drink anything like that, but it says, "Neither shall you drink any liquor of grapes, nor eat any moist grapes or dry." So you can't even have no grapes. You can't have no raisins. You can't have anything in regards to anything that came from a vine. I think the cranberry as well. Don't quote me on that, but I know for a fact grapes. So grapes is my favorite fruit. So that was obviously something else that was very hard for me to give up. Now, verse 4, it says, "All the days of his separation shall he eat nothing that is made of the vine tree, from the kernels even to the husk. All the days of the vow of his separation, there shall no razor come upon his head." And that's the key of the vow, is that you couldn't touch it. Like, I'm sure y'all see me in the other videos. I look half homeless. You know what I'm saying? I look half homeless. My hair was going everywhere. It was like a tree that, you know how like sometimes people will come and they'll cut down a tree and they'll make it look, kind of clean and kind of polished. Well, you need to understand something about the Most High. The Most High, and a lot of things that he stipulates us to do when we're men, is not to quote unquote be clean or clean shaven. That's why y'all brothers can't mar, the corners of your beard. That's why you can't shave your beard. You see what I'm saying? That's why you can't, get that nice, crisp, Jalen Rose lineup, because the Most High isn't about you being extremely precise with your look and your appearance, right? So that's one of the main things, is not only can you not cut your beard, you can't cut your mustache, you can't cut your nose hair, I wasn't catching 19 because I had like 3 times the amount of nose hairs because I couldn't cut it. And then of course you can't cut your head. So you can't cut anything above your chin, right? So basically that's what I did for a year. Continuing on, it says, "In the which he separates himself unto the Lord, he will be holy, and shall let the locks of the hair of his head grow." Now, some brothers, they style their hair. I remember at a certain time when my hair was getting very, very long, I did little baby dreads, baby braids. Some brothers get cornrows and stuff like that. there's nothing wrong with it. The reason why I didn't keep my hair like that is because my scalp got very dry. So if y'all brothers choose to do it and your hair is just growing and growing and growing, you know, obviously you can do that. Now, certain brothers from other camps will tell you that you're going off because if you get dreadlocks, it's a custom of the heathen. Now, me personally, I didn't want to get dreadlocks because, in my opinion, when your hair gets that unkept, you do start to look like, you know, you worshiping Vishnu from Hinduism. It is what it is. That's how I feel. But other brothers may feel differently about that. That's why all you brothers, it's very important that each and every one of you brothers look up the definition to see what that's saying compared to just going off what a man tells you. If you think it's right in your soul to not have the locks, then don't do it. But if you feel that that's not what that's saying, then hey, you know, you do what you got to do. But me personally, I just kept my hair unlocked, you know what I'm saying, and I just let it grow. It was like a spider web just growing everywhere, right? Now I'm gonna get to verse 6. It says, all the days that he separate himself unto the Lord, he shall come at no body. He shall not make himself unclean for his father or for his mother, for his brother or for his sister when they die, because the consecration of his power is upon his head. All the days of his separation, he is holy unto the Lord. And this is something that's very, very taxing, because y'all brothers need to understand something. A lot of times in the ancient days, if, like, let's say Samson or John the Baptist or Elijah, somebody in their family died, they couldn't go because they were a Nazarite from birth. Now, there's two types of Nazarite vows. There's one who is born with the Holy Spirit already inside of you when you were in the womb. And then there's a vow that you made by you saying you're going to take the vow, like Paul. Paul, he stipulated that he would become a Nazarite for a certain period of time. And I'm going to get into that a little bit later. But getting back to the main point, let's say example, Lord forbid, but let's say example, when I went to Cali to see my grandma, let's say something happened and she passed away, I would technically be breaking the vow to go and see her. And a lot of times that's what comes into this truth, man. Like if we were in the ancient world and the Most High set you to be a prophet or a Levite, or he set you to be a holy man, and let's say somebody died right in front of you, no matter how much you loved them and you wanted to care for them, you had to stay away, because the Most High said, if any man love father or mother more than me, he's not worthy of me. And obviously that's Yahweh Shai speaking. But again, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai are one. If you believe on the Son, or if you see the Son, you see the Father. If you believe in the Father, you believe in the Son. So a lot of times when you take a vow to that level, you're basically going above and beyond to show the Lord that you're proven. Now, again, we're not in a time period where you can do this exactly correct, because when I shaved my hair, I was supposed to make an offering unto the Lord, right? And obviously certain men, they were just appointed this from birth. The Most High stipulated he will be holy. But other men would just take the vow orally, like I said, like Paul. So, another thing is that you couldn't touch any dead bodies. You couldn't be around any type of dead bodies. So if somebody in your family, God forbid, passed away, you couldn't go and see them. Otherwise, you would break your vow. And again, it would be stipulated, are you going to, do and honor the word that you gave the Lord? Are you going to honor, are you going to feed that? And it may sound bad because a lot of people may be like, man, isn't that selfish? Hey, man, if the Most High put something in front of you and he said you need to do this above anything around you, hey, you got to do it. It's basically a showing of your faith, because the more you're willing to give to the Lord, the more he's willing to give back to you. Now, getting back to the main point, those are some of the stipulations. And then obviously, brothers, I'm just gonna skip ahead. I'm gonna go to Numbers chapter 6, because basically, whenever you separated yourself to do this, and let's say example you ate a grape, or let's say example you drank some wine, or let's say example you came and you touched a dead body, or let's say example somebody accidentally cut your hair, like Samson. Remember how Delilah, she cut off his dreads or his locks, right? Basically, what you would have to do is you have to make an atonement for your sin. Because if the Most High vowed you to do something and you didn't do it, the 100% stipulation that he commanded you to do, what he would do is he would say, hey, it's defiled, it's unholy, it's unclean. You got to stop it right now. You got to cut off all your hair. You got to burn it. You got to make an atonement to the high priest. And hey, it is what it is. That's why Samson, after Delilah cut his hair, the Most High stipulated that he would die in that moment, because the Most High took that Holy Spirit that gave him that supernatural strength and allowed him to trodden down his enemies, right? So it's a very holy thing, especially back in the time of the day when, brothers actually had an active spirit coming in them if they were chosen by the Lord to become a Nazarite, right? So this is the main part. It's Numbers 6 and 18. It says, and the Nazarite will shave the head of the separation at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and shall take the hair of the head of the separation and put it in the fire, which is under the sacrifice of the peace offering. So I don't know if y'all brothers are familiar with a GMS, right? There was one dude who came on there and said that if you cut your hair, you're supposed to burn it. The nigga was bugged out. Y'all brothers can sit here and cut your hair and not burn your hair. But if you are a Nazarite, technically, if you want to rehearse the righteous acts 100%, you're supposed to take your hair and you're supposed to burn it. And I'm going to just tell y'all like this. I burned the hair. I ain't going to tell you how I did it. I ain't going to tell you where I did it because, you know how Esau be when you start a fire. But just let you know, I did, after I shaved the hair, I burnt it. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you're supposed to do it. And then usually what would happen is you're supposed to make an atonement because when you cut your hair, it's basically like the agreement is null and void. But obviously, if you believe in Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, his blood is what makes the atonement for you, right? And then you would do like a little peace offering, like, get some bread, you get a little, obviously kind of like make like a little communion feast and stuff like that once you cut off the head of your hair. The hair off your head, Salaki. So basically, the reason why I wanted to bring this up, because it's a physical sign of separation, right? Because you're doing something that the vast majority of other people haven't done. You know what I'm saying? And there's a lot of things that I learned from it. I want to get into it, but I want to tell y'all brothers this. When you make a vow to the Lord, the Most High expects perfection. Like, if let's say, example, y'all brothers watch this video and you say, oh, I'm going to make a vow to the Lord. I'm going to be a Nazarite for 12 months. And then the first month come in and your hair look kind of messed up. You like, man, I really want to drink. I really want to go out there and drink. Bruh, if you made a vow to the Lord, even if it's defiled in some way, shape, or form, you got to be a man of your word. A lot of this is just coming to a test of your word because the Most High, his words are true. The Most High put the word in his son and his words were true. And those who are of the elect, who are of the 144,000, in your mouth will be no guile, meaning all the things that you said that you would do, and the scriptures prophesy for you to do, you're gonna do. The scriptures say he will endure to the end, shall be saved. So that's things that y'all brothers saying, I'm gonna, Lord willing, I'm gonna make it. Well, if your word is true, you're gonna make it. You're gonna be in tribulation, and you're not gonna, it's gonna be true. You're gonna get beheaded, and you're gonna stand for the testimony of Yahweh Shai. That's gonna be true. You will be purified, you will be refined. If you are of the elect, it's going to be true. So when you make a vow, it's a test to see how much of a man of your word you really are. And none of us are perfect, obviously, but your word and its truth is key, because what is this movement that we do? It's not even a movement, but what is this thing that we call the truth, right? So if you somebody who constantly harboring lies and you're not a man of your word, then why are you even in this? Because the wicked are perverse in their speech. The wicked are double-minded, are double-tongued. And again, bro, I'm not perfect. I fucked up before. And all y'all who watching me and watching me on the playback, you a damn liar. And you would have a proud spirit if you ain't never fucked up in some way, shape, or form. But at the end of the day, that's why we get repentance, because something that we said we wouldn't do, which when we came into the covenant that we would follow the law of the Most High, we go off from time to time. But it's about refining yourself more and more and more until you get to that point where the Lord deems you worthy, which will come, and Lord willing, you be raised up in the chariots. So basically, when you take a vow, whatever it may be, to stop, having sex for a certain period of time, to not drink, to not smoke, things like that. If you make it between you and the Lord, it's stipulated. Let's go to the book of Numbers chapter 30, verse 1. And Moses spoke unto the heads of the tribes concerning the children of Israel, saying, this is the thing which the Lord Yahweh hath commanded. If a man vow a vow unto the Lord, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceeded out of his mouth. So if you talking to the Lord, obviously you want to do this behind the scenes. But if you tell the Lord, hey, I'm not going to have sex with a woman for 6 months, you're bound by your soul. That's more than just some paper. You can rip some paper, playboy. You can take money out the bank, but you only have one soul. And the only person who has the power to destroy your soul is the Most High, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shah. So if you swear an oath in his holy name, and you got to be extremely careful if you do something like that, because you're going to suffer sin upon you. At the end of the day, if a man made a vow unto the Lord and he didn't follow it, and the Most High deemed it such an egregious act and he couldn't repent for it, the Most High would kill him. The Most High would kill him. But obviously we have grace. But if you brothers are making vows and you saying you're going to do something, you saying your word is bond, and the main thing that you're doing is you're praying unto the Lord to say that you're going to change something. If you don't do it, bro, when judgment day comes, the Most High has your name written, bro. So you got to be very careful and you got to follow through when you do shit like this. Now, you're not going to be perfect, and I'm explaining some of the things that show that you're not going to be perfect. But, you know, at the end of the day, and I'm going to bring this down. You brothers want to strive for perfection, right? Now, I want to just pull up this little article because there's certain things about the Nazarite vow that's not stipulated and outwardly written, but when you look at it precept upon precept, and you look at a lot of the holy men who did it before, I just want to read it real quick. So it says, the vow of a Nazarite. There is a concept put forth in Numbers 6, very interesting to me, and this is just an article from somebody who read the scriptures. It would seem that there are several instances in scriptures that designate certain positions to take on a higher responsibility than the rest of the people, usually in the form of leadership. Such designations included priests of the old law, Nazarites, which seem to have more responsibility than priests, prophets, teachers, and the offices of deacons and elders. This is talking about the different roles that were coordinated whenever we were like a functioning society. We had a temple, we had Levites, we had a high priest, etc., etc., etc. So I just want to skip down and I want to go right here, right? It says, to begin, the point of the Nazarite. Let me increase the screen real quick. It says, to begin, the point of the Nazarite vow was to separate oneself in devotion of the Lord. The Hebrew term Nazarite is Nazir, meaning to consecrate, and is derived from the root Nazar, which means to separate. Consecration is not really a term we use as much in today's language. The reason why they don't use that is because they want you all to be the same. They want you all to move like Babylon. They want you all to move under the spirit of Lucifer, right? That's why they don't want you to separate yourself. They actually want you to all come together, right? So this is an act that can allow you in your mind to separate yourself. And of course, you know, the Most High, if he sees you, you know, making the attempt, you know, it's something that's positive in his eyes, right? So think of it as setting yourself aside to dedicate your life to something. In the case of the Nazarite, the dedication was to the Lord. Though the durations of this vow aren't mentioned, history and culture holds that the shortest amount of time that one could take the vow was for 30 days. The vow would indeed, the vow could indeed last much longer than that, as most examples of Nazarites we have in the scriptures are a lifelong vow. So, you know, again, you have two types of vows. You had a vow that might last for 30 days, 60 days. Your brothers might want to do it for 90 days, 6 months. I did it for a year. I know another brother who's doing it for a year. You have some brothers who do lifelong vows, but me, I can't have my beard going down to the ground. Like if you look at those quote unquote Rastafarians who are Nazarites, some of them do it right. But the thing is, you can't cut your beard. A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll grow out their dreads and say, oh, I'm a Nazarite. That's why I can't cut my hair. I mean, bro, you can't have no type of razor. You can't have no type of sharp fit. And you can't even cut your mustache. You can't cut your nose hair. If you're doing that, you're not doing it the right way. And obviously, we can't do it completely the right way. But when it comes to you trying your best, you want to make it go back to the original as much as possible. So however long you brothers choose to do it, if you want to do it, you set aside a certain time. Now, if you say you want to do it for life, I mean, realistically, bro, you're probably not going to be able to do that. So I wouldn't tell you to do that. And that's where I had to err in my ways when I made this at time. And I had to repent unto the Lord because, you know, obviously I was young. I had a lot of zeal. And again, the scripture says, my people have a great zeal of the Lord, but not according to knowledge. That's why it's important when you brothers first come into this truth, like however many months you've been in it, to really look and evaluate what you're doing first, especially when you're making a vow. Because at the end of the day, the Most High says the Most High is not to be mocked. Whatever a man soweth is whatever a man reaps. So if you're making a vow to the Lord and you're not thinking through how you're going to be able to do it, the Most High is going to bear your iniquity, especially if you know and you choose not to do it, right? Now, getting back to the main point right here. Actually, I'm gonna stop it right here. So basically, I'm gonna just give y'all like my personal testimony. because I've always had short hair for the most part. Now there's times where I had a little kid and play high top fade. I had a little boosie fade. Like me, I just kind of cut. I didn't fade my hair at all. And obviously, when I was in the world, I used to get lineup. So this is actually the first haircut that I've had since I've been in the truth. That was actually because the last time I had a haircut was in 2020, right? So I used to get lineups. I used to get, the little eyebrow part, like a nigga, like a nigga was banging, and I used to cut down my beard, right? But obviously, I understand how you're supposed to, present yourself and follow the law, follow the Torah, right? Follow the law situated. So the main thing that I learned is the physical, because again, it's a psychological thing. I used to be a dude when I was in the world where if I didn't feel like I looked a certain way, I wouldn't go out. I wouldn't talk to a female. I wouldn't feel like I could present myself unless I had a clean cut or I had, earrings and shit like that. Now, don't get it twisted. These things are cool, but the one thing that the Nazarite allowed me to be at peace with is that I didn't need all these physical things to feel as if I look good, I looked attractive. When I went to California, my grandma said I looked like a homeless dude. She said, I don't know who you are. You don't look like your dad. You look like a Rastaman. And Rastaman is, Jamaican for like somebody who looks kind of homeless and just grow their hair crazy. Because my mom's side of the family, they're Jamaican, right? So the one thing that I used to battle was the fact that I couldn't cut my hair. I felt like I was unkept. And I always wondered if people were judging me for my appearance. But over time, what I started to learn was I really didn't give a shit anymore. I really didn't care if I went into a room, because I do food delivery and stuff. So I would go to big nightclubs in Houston. I'll go to nightclubs in Dallas. I would go to, these high spots. Niggas got Bugattis. Dudes got, bad women around them. And me, my hair y'all seen what my hair looked like? Because at first I tried to keep it. But then after a while, I was like, man, I don't even care no more. And I just let it grow. And what it allowed me to do is allow me to have internal confidence. Because even brothers in the truth, but mainly brothers who are not in the truth, they always base everything off of external. So one thing that if you brothers choose to do this is that you get a true love for yourself, because the one thing that you're going to learn about the Most High is he doesn't do anything for outward, only inward, right? That's why, and I'm going to read this. This is 1 Samuel 16:7. But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on his height or his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth. For man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart, meaning the what? The inside, what you're truly about on the inside, not all this shit that makes, and that's the thing with a lot of our people, we have a nature to be vain. We got the swag, we got the clothes, we got the Jordans, we got the rings, we got the diamonds and all that. But at the end of the day, inside, we have the mindset of a peasant. That's why Esau can, manipulate us and allow us to be his biggest consumer, because he takes that internal validation that we lack because the Most High rejected the vast majority of our people, and he uses it to sell us these things and make us play off of our lust, right? But when you take the Nazarite vow and you do it right, you don't try to because it's one thing for you to style your hair, that's perfectly fine. But if you're doing it because you feel as if you feel as if you ugly or something like that, you're not really doing it for the right thing. Because let me ask you a question. I'm not saying the Lord's not pleased with me now, right? But if you asked a woman or a man or anybody in the society, and they were to look at me before and look at how crazy my hair was compared to how I am right now, 99 out of 100 would say they like how I look better right now. And even in my mind, certain times I feel a certain type of way, right? But the main thing that I know pleased the Lord is when my hair was crazy. When nigga would just go out, I didn't give a fuck, bro. I didn't care, bro. Be on the street, it don't matter. Because I knew that I was pleasing the Lord. And at the end of the day, that's what's going to build your faith. When you're doing things, let me get this in Acts. I think it's Acts chapter 5, verse 14. Let me see. Acts chapter 5, verse 29. It said, then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey Yahweh rather than men. So if you make the vow, it's a part of the law. It's stipulated in the law that if you made a vow to be a Nazarite, you have to do it like that. And there's going to be many times in your mind where you want to like, oh, should I talk to her? Let me get a cut. Or you might want to go out on a date, right? You got the wine, because me, when I was in the world, an easy way for me to like mingle and get comfortable with people was drinking wine. When I was in the world, the way that I got into a woman that I used to date was by buying her a bottle of wine. So now in my mind, I can't go out to drink. I can't get shots. I got to go out and turn up with niggas, and I haven't drank it. And I used to be a brother, you know, because y'all know I got a lot of fire and I got a lot of energy in me. The alcohol would control me. The demons would come in me. The spirits would come with me, and I'd be reckless as hell. So the fact that I took the vow, not only did it calm my interior, but also it allowed me to not have to compensate with my exterior. And when you separate yourself, you're separating your body, and you also separating your spirit, because at the end of the day, they're synonymous. Your body and your spirit as one. That's why the Most High said, when he spoke through Paul, he said, don't you know that your bodies are the temple of the Most High? That's why you shouldn't, you know, join it unto a harlot, right? Because everything is synonymous. Your soul, your spirit, the energy that moves you, and your body, your flesh, right? So the main thing that I noticed is that I got a lot more spiritual confidence in who I am, where I could go and I could do things, and I could have I could be wearing shit that made me look like a bum. I would just wake up sometimes, not even comb my hair, wake up, brush my teeth, dip, go to work, driving around nice areas. It didn't matter to me. So when you separate yourself, the physical aspect of not being able to cut your hair and clean up and all this stuff, it goes away, and you start to realize that it doesn't matter. You start to lose that carnal aspect, and you become more spiritual. Let me get that in Romans real quick. I think it's Romans 13, and let me see if I can find it. Romans Slakia. This is Romans 8 and 6. I'll read verse 5. It says, for they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are the spirit, the things of the spirit. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity against Yahweh, for it is not subject to the law of Yahweh, neither indeed can be. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please Yahweh. But you are not in the flesh, but in the spirit, if so be that the spirit of the Most High dwells in you. Now, if any man have not the spirit of Hamashiach, he is none of his. And if Hamashiach be in you, the body is dead because of sin, but the spirit is life because of righteousness. But if the spirit of him that raised up Yahweh from the dead dwell in you, he is raised up Hamashiach from the dead, shall also quicken your mortal bodies by his spirit that dwelleth in you. So I wanted to read that because, again, you start to lose that carnal mindset. You become more spiritual mindset. And the fact that because it's not anything that you do physically, like me not cutting my hair, me not drinking wine doesn't allow me to get more deep rooted in the spirit. But the act of what I'm doing and the mindset that I have when I do it allows the Lord to pour on more spirit, to allow me to break down precepts, or allow me to have might when I'm preaching or teaching, whether I'm with people or whether I'm by myself, or allow me to be able to conquer the lust demon and stuff like that. Because there's nothing that I've done from when I was in the world to when I'm now that allows me to overcome these temptations. But my mind, the fact that my mind is being renewed due to the works and the acts that I've done to please the Lord, he allows the spirit to come upon me. That's why Yahweh was perfect. It wasn't the fact that Yahweh had this grand body. It was because his mind and his body was one with the Most High, which allowed him to not commit any type of sin or any type of iniquity. And we're not like Yahweh. We can never be like him. But when we do these acts to try our best to be like our forefathers of old, to be like Samson, Elijah, John the Baptist, Paul, that's what allows us to overcome. And if any of our brothers are striving for righteousness, that's what's going to allow you to become a new man. Let me get this in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 25. It says, Salaki, let me read verse 23 or 22, that you put off concerning the former conversation of the old man, which is corrupt according to deceitful lust. So a deceitful lust, nigga, I got to get that line up. The deceitful lust, nigga, I got to get my shirt. I got to be cold. Shout out Steph is cold. I got to be cold like Steph is cold for a nigga to like me. I got to have all these things for a dude to like me. And I'm saying that because I know him personally. You know what I'm saying? I'm not cool with him, but you know, it is what it is. But getting to the point, 23, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind. Renewing your mind, renewing how you think about yourself, thinking about, you know, the truth. A lot of people will look at a Nazarite like you bum. In me, it's like, okay, it's preparing me for the tribulation. Because I guarantee you, when we in the kingdom And you walk, because you need to understand something about this society. Whoever's in power, what they say is trendy is what most people follow. That's why the scriptures say, if the Lord if the world hated you, just know it hated me first, because Yahushua was moving like his father, not like the Roman Empire, not like the Greeks, not like the Samaritans, but like his father. And the Most High said, if you're of the world, then you're my enemy, right? So when you're doing things that the Most High pointed to men to not cut your face, nobody really wants to be around you. They may not sit here and say it, but they're judging you physically. First things first, somebody always judges you physically, how you look, especially your hair. So when you just come in and you don't give a shit, and you just sit down and you still suave and you still confident, some people will be like, damn, he's solid. But a lot of people in the back of their mind, they might want to avoid you. But when you can sit in there and just do it and not care, that's going to prepare you. Why? Because when you have to do the same thing, when you go into a supermarket and 10, 15 people are shunning you saying, oh, you don't have a card? Oh, you don't have that? I don't want to be around you. Your mom stopped calling. Your father stopped calling. Your girlfriend stopped calling. Your homeboy stopped calling. Looking at you crazy. You done been demonized on Instagram. People saying that you were a domestic terrorist. You don't give a damn. But things like taking a vow, things like following the law, things like having fringes, the things that separate you allows you to be able to take that worldly judgment to keep people away from you. So that way you don't even care whether they're on your team or not. And you're able to stand as a man, whether you with 10, 15, 20 people, or you just there by yourself, because you're never by yourself if you have the Most High. And at the end of the day, if all you have is the Most High, his power will destroy thousands of people. I get this in Deuteronomy real quick. This is Deuteronomy 20:2. It shall be when you are come near into battle that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people and say unto them, Hear, O Israel, you approach this day into battle against your enemies. Let not your heart, aka your mind, faint, and do not tremble, neither be you terrified because of them. For the Lord your power is he that goeth with you to fight for you against your enemies to save you. And I promise you, in tribulation, you might be the only dude. It might be 500 soldiers in NATO. And the Most High just gonna kill all their ass, swallow up the ground. You can be like, damn, with the Most High, I'm so powerful. Can't nobody even touch me. They be saying, can't touch this dude. You know what I'm saying? You can't be touched if you got the Most High. But the thing is, again, this is a refinement process. I always tell y'all brothers, it's like going to boot camp. You have that time to get yourself in the right mindset. So the things that you do now prepare you for the time to come. You see what I'm saying? The Nazarite vow is not going to physically allow you to be able to read scriptures better or allow you to pray better. But the fact that you're doing it allows the Most High to put that spirit on you to be able to overcome. You get what I'm saying? Now continuing on. So when you separate yourself physically, it allows you to get more external and internal validation, right? And then also it has some type of spiritual significance, because by proxy, what it does is it allows your light to shine. It allows your light to shine amongst men. And I want to ask our brothers a question. Do you want me to just read the scriptures, or do you actually want me to pull it up in the Blue Letter Bible? Let me know. One of y'all comment. Put a 1 if you want me to pull up the scriptures in the Blue Letter Bible. If not, I'll just read it and then I'll just talk. So y'all let me know. Hey, y'all let me know if you rather just me talk like this and just pull up the scriptures on my own, or do you want me to pull them up on the Blue Letter Bible app for this? So you want me to just talk? My bad, bro. I forgot what. So one is for the Blue Letter Bible. 2 is me just talking. So 1, you want me to pull them up on the Blue Letter Bible? My fault, bro. I be getting lost in the moment sometimes. Hey, put another 1 at that. All right, bet. All right, I'm gonna pull it up then. All right, so getting back to the main point of what I was saying. You know, obviously you want your light to shine so bright amongst men. And obviously the light is spiritual, but also it manifests itself in the physical, right? Why do I say this? Because Yahushua was the ultimate light. He's been the light from birth. Even when he was a 10-year-old kid, a 5-year-old kid, he always had light inside of him, right? But the thing is he finally got glorified in the flesh once his work was done. Once he, got crucified, laid, and then resurrected back up. So his light went from being internal to being physical for all the world to see. Now, obviously, his light was always physical because people understood who he was, the people who had the eyes to see and the ears to hear and, the mind to understand. But over time, you started to notice the reason why Yahushua had so much persecution is because that light inside of him was manifesting in everybody else. And that's why the Pharisees and the Sadducees had to kill him, because they understood that his light was being magnified so much and taking people away from the darkness and the dark sayings and the dark teachings that they had to physically kill his body. But what they didn't realize is that no matter how much you kill the body, you can never kill the soul. That's why we have to get killed physically so we can be glorified through the spirit, because that's what Yahushua did, because that's the ultimate sign of light, a light that can't be put out, a light that can't be seen, but it lights everything around you. That's a true sign of light. It's not a light bulb. It's not, those little, them little kitchen lights that shine, the neon lights. It's the light that can't be put out, which comes from inside of you, even though somebody can't see. That's the ultimate form of light. And that's what Yahushua was, because even though he wasn't, overbearing in stature, he still had the ultimate light that everybody wanted from him. You see what I'm saying? Because it came from his spirit. Now, I want to go to the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, because the longer you do the vow, the more you're going to realize that you are the light and you're being set out. So this is Matthew 5 and 14. It says, "You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven." And just to let y'all know, me taking this vow is what allowed my grandma to ask me what the Israelites was. Because I remember I was at her house. Give me 1 second. Let me put my laptop on the battery. Basically, I was doing the Sabbath, and I was like, "Oh, I can't do anything." She's like, "Oh, are you a 7-day Adventist?" And I said, "Nah, I'm an Israelite." That's why I'm not cutting my hair, because when she saw me and she saw how wild I was, she's like, "Why haven't you cut your hair in so long?" And I explained to her, "Oh, I'm doing the Nazarite vow." And I actually had, some deep conversation with her before she moved, and I told her about the truth. And I thank Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua. That's honestly the ultimate blessing that he gave me. I remember I had prayed, and I made a video, and I was like, "Man, I don't know if my grandma gonna make it." And literally later on that day or the next day, I ended up telling her, about the truth. But again, it's that let your light so shine bright amongst men. The fact that I was doing the vow, the fact that I was doing the Sabbath, I was doing the works that allowed, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua to be exalted. Even with this, a lot of brothers may, feel a certain type of way about fringes. I had an aunt that I had met out in Dallas, and he gave me fringes, and I put them on my shirt. And I probably maybe had like 5 or 6 people who are in the truth ask me about it. And I'm making relationships with people about it. Certain other people who don't know about the truth asking me, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with this. Oh yeah, this is the Israelite." So it's a good way for you to exalt the Most High, because at the end of the day, this is his law. It's not my law. It's not your law, but it's the Most High's law. Now, obviously, you don't want to overdo things like that, and you got to have a balance. You got to balance the internal, and because of what you're doing internally, it physically manifests itself in the flesh, like a Nazarite vow, or if you want to do fringes, or if you want to go out and preach. But you can't go out and preach if you haven't changed who you are first. Let me get this in the book of Wisdom of Solomon real quick. Wisdom of Solomon, we're going to go to chapter 1, verse 4. It says, "For into a malicious soul wisdom shall not enter, nor dwell in a body that is subject unto sin. For the Holy Spirit of discipline will flee deceit. It removed from thoughts that are without understanding, and will not abide when unrighteousness comes in." So don't do no Nazarite vow if you have malicious intent. Don't do the Nazarite vow to think, "Oh, I want to be like Young High, or I want to be like Samson. I want to get them powers." You know what I'm saying? I want to be strong. I want to be buff. I want to be like, nah, bro, that's not what it's about. It's always about glorifying the Most High by trying to do his law to the best of your ability like his son did, right? That's why in verse 17, Yahushua even said it. "Think not I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill." So at the end of the day, we're just out to fulfill the perfect law, because the law is perfect, but us men aren't. That's why we needed a mediator. We needed grace. We needed mercy, Salakia. We needed that blood, because we could never be and fulfill the law in these fleshly bodies. So the Nazarite vow is the same thing. Let's go to because I didn't even do the Nazarite vow perfectly. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, and I'm gonna explain why. So let's go to the book of Nehemiah, chapter 1, verse 9. It's the book of Nehemiah, chapter 1, verse 9. It says, "But if you turn unto me and keep my commandments and do them, though you cast out into the uttermost part of heaven, yet will I gather them from you, and I will bring them unto the place which I have chosen to set my name." So, when you return back unto the commandments, you return back unto the code. That's what, allows you to be in the good graces of the Lord. And then I'm going to read 1 Peter 2, and then I'm going to explain to y'all why I wasn't able to do the Nazarite vow perfectly, right? So 1 Peter chapter 2, and we'll read verse 9. It says, "But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that you should show forth the praises of him who have called you out of darkness into his marvelous light." So again, when you're doing the vow, when you're doing these things, you're basically preparing your way. Because in this body, nigga, I'm not no priest. In this body, I'm not a special person. Like, I'm special because I know who I am through the spirit that the Most High gave me. But in this body, in this environment I'm not being glorified. You a dude, if you a nigga, you're seen at the bottom, off top, and you have to overcome it. But the thing is that this is preparing the way. Lord willing, you make it into the kingdom. Lord willing, you make it into the kingdom. You best believe I'm finna be a Nazarite, boy. You know what I'm saying? Hell yeah, I'm gonna be a Nazarite. You feel me? Of course I'm gonna do that. But at the end of the day, it's not about me trying to be that right now, but to do it to please the Lord, right? Lord willing, I'll be a priest. Lord willing, I'm one of the brothers who's able to do sin offerings to one of the Gentile nations. And I pray I'll be a judge because I want to be a part of 144,000. Hey, I say it like this. There's 5 of y'all brothers on there. And let's say a Moabite, he accidentally did something or he did something malicious. I want to be somebody who's doing the judgment. I want to have the spiritual power. All y'all brothers want that. But at the end of the day, the Most High has to refine us and prepare us for that. He can't just give us the keys to the car. You got to learn how to drive first. And sometimes you're going to go into accidents. Sometimes you're going to make mistakes. But it's just preparing you to see if you're going to become that flawless driver who gets 100 on every test. Does that make sense? Now, and that was something that I had to learn with this vow, because the Most High, when I did it, there was one particular moment. Now, let me get this in the book of Judges, right? Because if you brothers do this vow, especially if you're new or even just in general, you're probably going to fuck up. And I'm explaining the reason why. This is the book of Judges, chapter 5, verse 11. It says, "They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the places of drawing waters, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord, even the righteous acts towards the inhabitants of his villages in Israel. Then shall the people of the Lord go down to the gates." Now let's look this up, because a lot of Israelites think that rehearse means to do flawlessly. That's not what rehearse means, but sometimes you got to break it down so basic for dudes who like to, overdo things in the truth and who like to be over righteous. So rehearse usually means simply to relate, to tell, to declare. Rehearsing from the beginning. Has preserved you for me by translation, by rehearse, also introduced to rehearse. So basically what I mean is that you're rehearsing, you're repeating the righteous acts in a society where you could never do it perfectly like how you could before. Because in a society where we lived in, where we had Moses, Aaron, we had David, we had the prophet Gad, we had the prophet Nate, Elijah, Elisha. We don't have nothing like that. We even had a time where Yahweh was walking the scene. Do you really think we're going to be able to fulfill the law like how we could before? And we went off in the land where we're surrounded by heathen nations? Of course not. So one thing that I messed up, and this is what I messed up, it wasn't with my hair. It wasn't with me touching dead bodies. It was in regards to the drink. The reason why is because I remember I was on the phone, and shout out to one of my old ox Malak. It is what it is, whatever. I ain't going to get into it, but shout out to the brother. I always got love for my bro. But basically what had happened was I was on the phone with him and I was shopping. And I remember I was under a lot of stress. I was like, man, I just need to unwind. And usually how I would unwind when things were going bad is I would buy wine. So I was on the phone with him for like an hour 15, whatever. And I remember I came home and I was on the phone with him and I just took a sip of the wine and I did everything subconsciously. You need to understand something about this. The Most High is not going to allow you to be perfect because he's not going to allow you to be his son. The reason why a lot of times, and I'm not Salaki, I'm not even saying the Most High. The reason why Satan and his spirits will get upon you is so you can mess up, so you can rely, call on the name of the Lord to pick you back up. The scripture says, a righteous man falleth down 7 times, but getteth up 8. You can't be righteous and be perfect. It's impossible for you to do it unless you're Yahweh Shai. None of y'all are him. So sometimes, no matter, even if you want to try to be perfect, you want to keep the Sabbath 100%, you want to get the fabric with 100% cotton or 100% linen or 100% wool, it's not going to be able to. Even when y'all brothers eat, you might think you eating steak, there's 2% pork, you went off. You might, you get what I'm saying? You might be around a woman who's on a period, you don't even know it, you went off. Because you're not even supposed to be around a woman on her period. So when I was trying to do these things perfectly, it just kind of happened, and I was like, damn, I fucked up. And I was talking with Malak. He was like, I'm like, bro, I got to cut my hair. He's like, I mean, you say you're going to do it for 12 months, bro, just keep going, bro. We rehearsing the righteous acts. It's not about you being perfect, but you striving for perfection. You know, there was a time where I was eating trail mix, and I ate a raisin, and I completely forgot that a raisin was a dry grape. You see what I'm saying? But I made a vow to the Lord that I would do it for a certain period of time. You see what I'm saying? So when you make a vow to the Lord, even if you're not perfect, if you do your best to be like that, the Most High is gonna reward you. In the time past, a lot of our people will go in who strive to be a Nazarite, and of course they went against the high priest and stuff like that. But let's go to the book of Amos, chapter 2, verse 11. This is the book of Amos, chapter 2, verse 11. It states, I'll read verse 10. It says, also I brought you out from the land of Egypt and led you 40 years. What the hell? Salakia, man, my computer be tripping sometimes. This is the book of Amos, chapter 2. You can go to verse 11. It says, and I raised up of your sons for prophets and of your young men for Nazarites. Is it not even thus, O you children of Israel? But you gave the Nazarites wine to drink and commanded the prophets, saying to prophesy not. So you need to understand, when you're striving for righteousness and obviously trying to be working to do the Nazarite vow is an act of righteousness. I mean, it's in the Torah, right? You need to understand that Satan is going to try to defile that in the eyes of the Lord. You may not know it, you may not realize it, but there are certain people around you who say, hey, I want you to drink. Hey, bro, just come out, get lit with us one time. Hey, you want to eat these grapes, you want to eat these raisins, things like that, because you need to understand, Satan is in the spiritual realm as well. So he's the one who's tempting you to go off. And again, you may not be perfect, but when you take a vow that's not required for all men or all women to do, you're going to the next level. It's very hard, especially in this society where you can drink and get drink anywhere you go. It's another level. You get what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that you're more virtuous than another man. But what I'm saying is that if you choose to do it and you complete it, you're going to look at yourself like, damn, I really did that. Call Allah Yahweh Bahasham Yahushua. And I promise you, you're going to get closer, because you're going to get closer when you look at yourself in the mirror. You're going to get closer when you look back. I had never gone a full year without drinking wine. Never. You know what I'm saying? Now, of course, you had that point, but I mean willingly going out and drinking wine. Willingly, not going out there and drinking vodka, getting lit, turning up, bro. Being the old nigga that I used to be. And especially to cut my hair, bro. Bro, I promise you, if you knew me from 2-3 years ago, I had to have my hair cut sharp, bro. I don't even give a fuck how, like, my hair, I'm looking like a cholo right now, bro. But it's like, hey, bro, I'm good because the Most High got me, man. So, if y'all brothers choose to do this, man, it's a beautiful thing. And it's a blessing if you're able to do this, because we don't really even have that much time left where we can actively not drink or actively not eat something. When that time comes where we're not going to be able to get all the requirements that we need, eventually you're not going to be able to, wear fringes. You're not going to be able to go out and preach. You're not going to be able to go out and make videos. The famine of the word coming. You're not going to be able to do the things that you want to do while being in this society, because our true nature as Israelites, before anything else, when you have the Spirit on you, is to do whatever you can to please the Lord. That's why Solomon said the whole duty of men is to follow the commandments of Yahweh. Now I want to read Lamentation 4:7. It says her Nazarites were purer than snow. They were whiter than milk. They were more ruddy in body than rubies. Their polishing was of sapphire. And the reason why I wanted to read that is just so you can understand the spiritual significance of the Nazarites of old, who were virtuous and righteous in the eyes of the Lord, meaning that they were purer than snow, because the color of snow is representative of purity. That's why when Hamashiach came and appeared himself in Revelation 1, his hair was white like wool, because he was pure. He was more pure than any. And you got to understand, with your hair, it symbolizes the crown. Now, I can't verify you this, but in my opinion, your hair is what allows you to connect your spirit. You know, obviously, I'm just speaking on this. Is my theory. This isn't something that you can read in the Bible, but a lot of people would talk about, you know, how your hair, when you cut your hair, it's like you cutting off your antenna from a higher source. And in my personal opinion, that makes sense. And that's why the Most High would allow for certain men to not cut their hair, like John the Baptist, like Elijah, like Samson. You see what I'm saying? And then, of course, for Yahweh Shah HaMashiach's hair to be pure, it symbolizes that the hair is very holy unto the Lord. So if you brothers plan to do this, you know, I say this. If you feel like you're not ready for it, I'll never force it upon you. But, you know, me, I'm an adventurous dude. I'm a courageous dude. And I say this, I like to live in the moment. And sometimes that could be my worst downfall, that fire inside of me that just wants to go. But a lot of times it can be my greatest quality. So if any of you brothers want to do something like that, I mean, hey, bro, I always tell y'all to do it, man. If y'all ever got questions, you know, you can follow me on Instagram. My name is Osh_iBod. Y'all can email me at Young High Flyers. Or if y'all come on here, bro, you got any questions, you can always, type them up in the chat. So I hope this lesson was edifying, bro. If y'all plan to do it, man, I highly recommend it. And I give all praise and honor and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shah. The Vato Ashabot signing out, man. Peace.